Yeah. Lasso, number some treasury, the Nitang Sungo Zisharo.
Okay, Testile, hello, welcome everybody. Let's start.
Telling out so Juanjika Liga Tombo, Janchuka, Semga Payon, Liga Nipa, Duba Shop Liga Samba, Chancho Semyon Zon Liga Japa, Boyo Liga Tatari Nima.
Yeah. So Geshe is teaching Shantidevas text, the guide to the Bodhisattvas way of life. And in the past classes, Geshe spoke about the benefits of bodhicitta, then the confession of negative deeds, the commitment to bodhicitta, and conscientiousness. So that's what we have covered so far.
Last one. Tanda nga ba shivjin liga zedi atri shivjin di liga tilang sem sonsar tan sem sonala chamba tan shiji tengwa ni gna ni sem sonsar te yanjo ni ta chamba ta shijin ge son tengwa sarti kor le manjo gore.
So now we are within the 5th chapter, which is called conscientiousness. Guarding mindfulness and alertness, sorry. And this is all about the different means how we can guard and protect our minds.
La so tan deni pache liga ni sabdem bai sani tata zu pache isari tatani mai sari shiji me bi chok ta chamba ni bi jim rang sonam ta ki nyep sa pi shkombom chorje ngandron ro ze on ditan nga so shivjin de yapo chi matena shivjin da chamba ge sa de yapo chi ma son na tanda chaze gore nyomo ba ta so chomka namjin da le yon res kuma naji yonita sonam tsama kuma gyamni roja kares sonam kuma gyamni roja na dendro roja giti me are sonsa techimal nandro man roja kares.
So we have arrived at verse 27 on page 74, which reads, "The thieves of distraction, in following upon the decline of mindfulness, will steal even the merits I have firmly gathered, so that I shall then proceed to lower realms." So this is just basically saying that if we don't, practice mindfulness, then, it will make us being influenced by the disturbing emotions, and then have to experience the respective results, and then in the future we'll have to be reborn in a bad state of existence.
So tani nisabye pa de kar so nyomo chok tsonda to lakam choro chepa te sa lagni ke na game chocha dendro sokjan jomber cheze ta te kar ze gore ziti nga so nyomo ze at kuma na jere se kuma sonye tel gewa sonye tel yona mena ta chamba ta shiji ni res chamba ta shiji ni ga yakpo chi ma sona kozo kati na kuma na jtani de ores kuma ta chaba na ta chamba ta shiji ge sem gesa lo matem bati korkap chi kati raksona watani nyomo ta so sanzani sem ge deke chugni ta
Kasa tama migibe
nyomo bat so sem la tsunzu kuma na jinzu ani gesa ta so me pazo ani tanda dendro so chondro rezendo dendro ni mangin rol kendo res tanda sholo kani ka tonda chipando resha.
Yeah. So then verse 28 has basically the same meaning, and it reads, "This host of thieves, who are my own disturbing emotions, will search for a good opportunity. Having found it, they will steal my virtue and destroy the attainment of life in a happy realm." So this is saying that the afflictions or the various disturbing emotions, that they are like thieves, and what protects us, from these afflictions that take away our virtue, is the practice of mindfulness and introspection. So that's also a way of checking our minds whether we engage in positive actions and so forth, and to prevent the afflictions, to destroy all the virtue, which means to be to prevent the afflictions to avert that we are reborn in the bad state of existence, but rather have a good rebirth.
Sonsa tanda nisagu patre tevi chamba yigombi katana ya mortondis sona ngandro no pata chamba chiti nyor shaziti sonsa nyomo bi chonken de kati na ta de yo sonsa na so kati na chamba gewal mupal ya potemboche ani chake go so ya podiam nita chamba tan shijing go son ati nam ya loss ta yo mar se kas cholo te shor sona sem te yin sona yang jo tsa jani ten ma jana ngan ro ma chi ken ro ya sam ni ta je nan ra wo che ni ta in chu me chu sem ge wal tembo zong go re zer
Ja, sag's mal, Kadina, tempo da Shishing.
Kadina, Tena, Chamba Yugondi, Zitena, Chamba the Kadina Yapo, Chamba Geval Yapo Nyak, Sem Jean La Yan Chua Yo Maris, Sem Chalol Yuchua, Magi Chol Yuchua Yo Maris, Carsate the Shorsona, Lamsa Ota, Til Pashorsona, Ninjol Jojo, Samnita, Lamsa Siki Onita, Sev Geval Jaguaris, what that don't do.
So then verse 29 reads, "Therefore I shall never let mindfulness depart from the doorway of my mind. If it goes, I should recall the misery of the lower realms and firmly re-establish it there." So this is basically saying that we, should keep our minds focused on virtues, on virtuous actions, and to always do our best to, stick to the practice of mindfulness and introspection and not getting distracted. Because if we get distracted, meaning that we lose our, intention or our, positive actions, then it will quickly have a bad result. So this is what verse 29 is saying.
Then, Tandati, Pen Rochi, Jana Penazo, Katina, Control Rochi, we call Control Rochi Leon, the Lamson, control on an angel mando jagres, and Zopa Angola, Lamsan Tambajani, control Leon, the so Katina Jedanga, Saulotani Tradigina, Parishini, Jerimbotanji Yapocom dinner, Malam to so non Malam mini Tupaza, Tendicina, Lamsa or Tupazani Mari, Zopa Angola Samachana, Tupaza, Narol no Regela no Tendisamba, Tendiga Trambalian, Yoris.
To give an example, if we have good mindfulness, we'll notice more easily, when say anger arises in our minds, and then we remember that, having given rise to anger, then we'll act out, and then we have to experience a respective negative result, and so we want to then remember the practice of patience, and then if we make it a habit. Then even in our dreams, we might, have that thought, I've given rise to anger, and then, it's harmful for myself and others. So, this is all, when we familiarize ourselves with the practice of mindfulness.
That's Anthony. Sholopa Samjab, Lama Don and Robot on Cambodges, Timbalin, Jupiter, the Kuchip, Tramba de la Niete, the only Tande, young. Tanda transhiption the song Chirita, Lama they at the Karze or Nachu Nanga to Lama Mombochi Shade or Lama Tachi, Lama they at the Likechu, some Doji Yontal Segori, Lama Chushin, Lama Telikechu Karasam Sangorizina, Lama Tele Kibi yon den down, Zambi yon den down, Zambu yote, some Shigor, and Kibi yote Zeti, Jean Mombol and Nachu, Jean Mombol, Lob Jonchini, Jean Soya Poshia Teritate, Kipazia de Teroaco Lila. Ani Zambi yon de Zeate Jongunan, Yamle Cheton Sama, so Gilla Gani Yamle Yapochin Kichili Bore, Manganyamle Yapoche Mato, Zamba Zeate Chapomar. Ani Zambu yon de Zeate, Zambu Bamayar of Zeata Chupari, so gets a council pata, same Changaton, the Pahmo Jana Mato, so Chupo Chet, Nga, Manawa, Nga, Mata, Nga, Panjo Yapoyoma, Tenji Chet, Mangoa, same Chat Tamba Gipata, same Chat David Chet, Moa, or Tendi Ketchu, some Sango, or Lamatal.
And then verse 30 reads, "Through staying in the company of spiritual masters, through the instructions of abbots and through fear, mindfulness will easily be generated in fortunate people who practice with devotion." So here the mention is of spiritual masters, or lamas is often referred to, and they are said to have three qualities, which is being skilled or learned, learned in the in the scriptures and the teachings. And then as a second quality would be they should be not only having the theoretical knowledge but also engaging in the respective practice of the teachings, to have familiarity with the Buddhist practice or the teachings. And then as a third quality, they should be virtuous in the sense that they should not learn and practice the teachings for their own benefit, but dedicate their virtues for the sake of all sentient beings.
Also, tani loma zayat kar gor goziti loma zayat no ki kyosam da chawachi gozini shegori no ki kyozite pena pomban chi ka mo ni jana na lo chenro mare ani jap ikonto ngyochi na chenro na ya del chenro na ya na ni ma shan re ani tungro na la tungro yo sa chi na ti na lu chulu atini tomlo wa chan re te na je nye ti ya tombo ya po chi nyen gore mo ma nyen na no ka bo patawre ani nyena ya semja le majani tiri chi nyeni ni yu jana jabdo atawre ani tenji ge shia to majala pento ta tenji ge che to majurni ta jambala no ki an ro ta na so so chen nyen rong ro ta na panjun de gon ro ta tenji ge che to tang jana anda no chama chan tawre tenji ma yimba tama chi go ze ore chu nyen ke de.
And then on the other side, the person listening to the teachings, the student, they should also have three qualities, and they're often likened to, or in other words, they should be free from three certain faults, which are often likened to kind of like a vessel which is upside down, a vessel which has a hole, and a vessel that is dirty. And so if a student is kind of like a vessel that's upside down, that means that the student is not able to receive anything. So if the student doesn't pay attention, then you can tell them anything, that it wouldn't affect them in any way. They wouldn't even listen and pay attention. So that in other words, the student should be open and attentive, listen carefully to the teachings. And then as a second quality, they should be free. Or they should be not like a leaking vessel which has a hole, because then even though they might listen, they don't retain it. So it goes into one ear and then goes out the other side. So the student should be listening carefully and remember what they've heard. And then as a third quality, they should be free from, they should not be like a vessel which is dirty, which means that the student should not have any like bad intention or so, but should be pure as it were, or have wholesome intention.
Can you explain more on this?
About the vessel thingy.
Yes.
So
I think it's important.
Yeah. De kolder det mange der siger to vejner. Det loptok nø, men der kasa nø, men der var som køn jo kasa tima jo gjort der kun jo gjort der radi som kitje yngura.
Tati taki jwa ta chipanda ojire ta counter miji da chunyin ke to aso lopta jamban ro ta nda yo mar lopta jamban ro chingro na ko lobyon ro che de jima so panjun dong gon ro ta ya na chi chala zo an ro da na pon korsan ro de ni che de lobyon che yo re lopta ro ta kar ge che de no che tang lopta chingro ai na lobyon chi che ai na lobyon shion de jima pesha zo che de ndo di na shion de pesha danda chullo jongja ta tenji ka sawlo ta yo mare fa shenyi de yang fa shol sem go de ke chel pen to sa ni samlo ya po chi ta ni she nyen ke de yang ta ra sem chu ya ge che ta ra jang ge kangal de ke cha sem ba chu ya tenji chi ma to jen chen nyen ra ta pe shan ra ta tenji ge che ta sawlo ta na danda no chuma chan ya ta chang ro.
Yeah, I mean, if people join an ordinary school, like an institution, ordinary, then what they do, or why they do it, is to get an education, then in order to eventually, make money. But here, in this context, studying the teachings, being a student, then we should not have these worldly motivations, but have Suzuki sem chuagi.
No sem chuagi che tro so sem chuagi mi sem kam ge chu ga ti che ta ma panjo dang go che ta se nyen to zo ta mare.
Yeah, so when any student engages in the study of the Buddhist teachings, they should not be motivated by these worldly aims, but they should be motivated by training their minds, transforming their minds, and not being keen on making whatever money or becoming famous or whatnot.
Asa tani tanga andini chonji she de gore yana ya tan di she na je la min se ni tan ni ngal chi sang ma ri ta chi pe cha mo bo chi ta ni te sing gre ta ke pa ja ta ni cha ka yo ma ta ni nyaw le ni tan ri tom bo che to ma ta ngo an ro ta ma ngo wa ja ta ta nga tan ri che de go ndi na je ngwa karchena zambo kyobi molam zeni japo pauche tanke ba kando zambo tian te shinki te da kanji jisi dalo che dia anda ta tamcha rap te ngo zeni ngwa chi yore te ngo yarbo semcha tamcha ke che te ge ngwa ri tinri ge nap che ge sa che te ngo ngwa te tinri ingere mo ge jamba ni te chama chebjin sa to mare son ta yinga so chu chong da wo chi cha ka yore mo ge la lo ne chi cha ka yo mare
Chu tok.
na so chu ki chok po cha ka yore
In the Lama kola kesi.
lama na jin chi ne re to mare zi
Ngatse.
ngandri chi na lama di shia gun tsin ni tsang yo mare
Ale.
she chu she de yo re ta ta chama chu ji cha ko mare
Ale. Kan kola kesi. Although I myself, I personally don't fulfill all these, criteria exactly as they were meant to, but I'm the person, giving the teaching. I know something about the teachings and so forth, but what is most important is to Kasegewa
ngwa te taran chechu samba te tsang yo kire zi
but
omani te tsre ma to ya po tsang yo mare
yeah, so I'm not saying that I'm skilled as per definition, as it were, or practice according to what's meant to be in the teachings, but what the dedication is concerned, I do dedicate all the virtue for the sake of all sentient beings.
tani lama tanda nga ni kapsab lama tanda dropa zin kembo ze de at kirtani kembo ze at mombo she ayore tanda wani sheping kembo ze at gerlon ta sola gerlon jum ke lama su talan kembo ze ore tani getser ta genye jum ke lama ta sola lokpon ze ni tani tan ya ore kembo ta lokpon ke par tani da ochire.
Then the verse also mentions the instructions of abbots. So here abbots can be understood in different ways. Abbot di kapusu baba di getsu
gelong kambo lama su talan kembo ze ore.
So what is usually meant or referred to as an abbot is the person who's ordaining the fully ordained, monks and nuns. That person is giving the vows of the fully ordained person is the abbot, and then what the novices are concerned, that person giving novice vows is the lopen or the master. Master, acharya. Yeah, they're different words.
Last hotni tandi kapsa tana dua karashi ore zina ngaso namjin da lama ga so chushen ke lama karashi ndu ta tan kembo karason du te son da so majena maje pa maze ani leka karche na rangin sende chini ngosa shipa ta jengin sende chini cheyo pa tan ngosa cheyo tan damba tan chigo samlo chi yona ani tamba de la ni te keze ti tani chusho ko tamba te katina le yongores tan lama ga tan ti lab chano re kembo tan ti lab chano re ani minton miletini le kadu chachina chemere rantuni rajam sachini le kadu chachina ngosa me parisan to so yapo sana ni geu cholo semba yapo de nyomong cholo semba mandro atendi yongores.
And then if we, as it's referred to in this verse, if we have mindfulness, or if we are mindful of the advice that, say, our teachers, our abbots have given us, I forget.
Tanda lami katan lo kambo lapcha so ya pochi ni tani ngosa trio ya pochi cheshina ni tram tranship gesal ya poni gres.
So if we remember are mindful of the advice that the abbots or our teachers have given us, then we'll also have a sense of shame and embarrassment. And what shame basically refers to is being shameful, as it were, or having a sense of shame of our actions with regard to ourselves, saying it's not suitable for me to act in this way. And if we have a sense of embarrassment, it's we are considering others, saying it's not appropriate for me to act in this way, because then my teachers or whoever else will be disappointed or whatever they might think. So having the advice of our teachers and abbots and so forth in our minds, we'll be mindful and then develop a sense of shame and embarrassment, and then practice.
Tenite sholokani de nyam de jujakaya sarji chanchu sepa kunda tome azik damba deta tamcha kyangana stapar dagna ni so jis terter sambi ngotsa tan kuten jigtan tevjeno ten sanji jitamba tela yanda chonze de ondi tandinga so Naja Gendel, Mimonton Sata, Chijanga Hamuko Satanji Leon, Kyun to Sochia Maris, call a chet in a Keo Mari, Nipat Sochet in a Leka du Katri chet in a Keo Marisamna, Tanji Tikas, Sanjit and Chancho Sepata, so Kundazik that Tommy Kunda Tommy them, Kati Yen Tonton race, and so Mime Sala Loli, you go Lomuzundua, Karzeri, Sisi Saman Tondindo. Then just Sanji chances Sepata, so not so tiny day or something. Then the Tongoman do this and call it Kunchia or Maris. The songs that Sanji chances Sepata, so tiny day or me, Leka the Katanichin and Motsawala, Chimevala, Tendi Samni, Tendi Saulo Yapo, Tani Katina, Saulo, Tendi Tons, Tendi Tonatani, so Kun, the Nipal Manjual Pentorama, Sanji Jitango and Chogres, or in Jatan as a number chin and Yamatapa Sanji that should again that so young the Chengo. What is Sanji Jitango and Chogres, or Sholokani to another Terisha?
And then verses 31 and 32 read, I am ever dwelling in the presence of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who are always endowed with unobstructed vision. By thinking in this way, I shall mindfully develop a sense of shame, respect, and fear. Also, through doing this, recollection of the Buddha will repeatedly occur. So this is basically saying that there's nothing that the Buddhas and so forth are not aware of. So they know what we engage in, what actions we are engaging in, and it's kind of like with this CCTV camera. Yeah. So we should be aware of that. That they know what we're doing.
Then not to chew money, Chenamoni, Sanjay Mazia, Savani, your marriage, Sanjay Muzua, Sanjay Katina, Zuari, not so lake a cassette to Chachile, Miss Kangamonton Sazzle to Kelle, Kumaja, Lasso Patenti. She does in Toyo Marisana, Sanjay Zuni Deoris, Chigri, and you but legend regionality, Namia Tarayo Marizo. Also mean Tomanton, Chikan, your Mari, legend at Taranjani, also. John Garchina Taranj and Jiman Social and Namaducat Leon Goris, sometimes also mean Tonda Mountains in the police and Chudo Kemelin Kachina, Chumgendro, Tenjilekachi on the police mountain, Yankan control mats and the Kevsan Sangora, Chulukuni and Kevsan the Savani or Maris, legendary Tina and Decantanga Maris, Sanji Gatina Zuzuarese, or they turned up Sochibari.
Yeah, so it's saying. That the Buddhas are always aware what we are engaging in, whatever bad actions we do, they will be aware of it, and they also have an insight in karma, causes and effects. If we create certain actions, they will be aware of what the karmic result will be eventually. And someone might engage in whatever illegal actions, and they're not being caught by the police, and might think they can get away with stealing something from somewhere. Not being caught by the police or so, but in this context, it's not like this. Whatever actions we are engaging in, the Buddhas are aware of it.
Last, raise one. Tanti di Sholoka Womat and reference awesome. Concept by you going so it on the nature, but it's a shiv you want your son attack. One years it so Takigan she the other, but you bandage. Sonsa Tendicini Sanji, the Chancha Sepata, so the Sami Jamba, Semi Yapochi Sona, Yapochi Sona Yena, and Shivjan Jarati and Yapochi Chigres, Shijang Jara, Jarat and your touch Mombola in the cave. So touch it. Shijang Yaposunguri. Shijang Yaposunguri, Semi Yapodego, Yaposungures, and he said that Sonazeti shall all pashers on a Yanjo Leunguri, Yanjo Cherongerzeti, Yanjo Sele, Yanjo Selendona, Sema gave each other so Tesrishona, Lansa gave each other Sele, controllers of Patan, Virtualas of Chol Tesrindona, Yanjo gave each other, Yanjo gave each other, Sanjita Chances Sepata, so the Deori, the Diapoyo Maris, and Katu Seyon, Champion of Chemboyoris. Resare.
Then verse 33 reads, when mindfulness is set with the purpose of guarding the doorway of the mind, then alertness will come about, and even that which had gone will return. Always look at motivation of arising thoughts. So that's pretty much in line with what has been said above, that the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are aware of our actions, and if we know this, or if we keep that in mind, and basically practice mindfulness and alertness, then then we will notice when afflictions arise in our minds, or what else, and then we'll do our best to focus back onto the virtues, and practicing accordingly, that will be very beneficial.
Geshe said in the last verse something about shame and fear. We should develop shame and fear. For my Western ears, that doesn't sound healthy. Like, I don't see that it motivates me when I'm like afraid of the Buddhas or them knowing what I do. Can he explain something?
This kasi sange las chasan ka gore nga su shenang de chakpa di jik di ine nga inchi insang de ta sange la jik tak hiena ta this penge yusa mare di dokpa yore tina na go
kare sange la chakamare zere
nga sange chasan
yiche mare zera
yiche mare nga chiche nga kare chegi na ena ko haku gore sang de nga jiktak ngo sarang jiktak ki gore ene jiktak ke jiktak so jiktak se gore jiktak ke sona ta
yaboyo samare zere
penge mare dina da
ndri chik sawlo ta na so pu chu
penge
yimbi kabla baba ma ta sol ta kyo so napsho pal yo na ma shinga so poli na yor baba ma ta sol jengare baba ma ta sol thonsale kyo ma ro chuni chepe mar kyo ma ro chena baba ma so tangure zokore sa sonza katina baba ma thondro samni zawzab che dia de ta jaru jala so pa le ka dik chama chal penshu to kore o teni ro chik songu yor ta na.
Yeah, Geshe says, I don't know about the Western culture, but in our Tibetan culture, it's like this, when we are, when we know that our parents know, their way, if they find out if we misbehave, we have that sense of, I guess, fear or something, then it's very beneficial in the sense, knowing that, or if we, be engaged in bad behavior, in negative actions, and our parents find out, then they will scold us or punish us in some ways. In that sense, it's beneficial.
Nesa lokan ra chik samla tana aso tanam shopai na chik pari pukila police so tandi titenen ru ni kuma ja pe mara police ta san thonsal ko kuma jam jo kuma jam pe ad karizina na police ng thonsal kuma jam na police ge zamni jongka nam chukure san ni jeng yora sonza tu kyo ni ba ma sa la pen to so kyoba mara machal pento so te na je tanda nga so kyoba mara chechena sanji ta cha seba so kati na zu pare le jimre kati na zonzo mari sonsa nga so njik mari samni dordina nga so mi chi te kyong cholo manjo wa tawshi she de ni ba ma sa tawshi lis de at mi so ni ba ma sa che de yore mo jen ko so pesha teniti de kwa yo mara tene do chi.
Or if the police is around, people wouldn't engage in stealing things, knowing that they will get punished by the police sees what they are doing. So in a sense, it's to help us to not engage in negative actions, knowing that being mindful of Buddha's knowledge or they knowing what we are doing, it's hopefully benefiting us not to engage in negative actions.
But when I'm afraid of the Buddha and his punishment, that sounds like Christianity, Then I don't want to take refuge in Buddha because I'm afraid of him. I don't think that's like a...
But it's not that Buddha punishes you.
No, but that's how it sounds.
Sanje ni patangare ta zeg mare sanje zig de sonsa ngo chapores le jemje tata ni patangare zen ni te ze lokashe kor
yeah it's different
tata ni patangare le jemje zen so che so mata ya ne chi ta kan ro ne de ya ke yong re ze tin ro chi.
Yeah, it's not that the Buddha is punishing us or someone who behaves badly, but it's the karma that we create.
Sanje te so zenjok che sa tra zenjok che sa ti ngel ro ni kama jab de na so debo yo mara senro so kujab che sa ro mi ya po se ya chi ro apa ma ngel ni kama jab de na ma je na ya bo yo mara yore so kujab che sa ngel kyo ba maro nga so che gona kal ka bo yo ra ote sanje ze ya te kujab che sa ye son sa ti ngel kyo ba maro che yo mara le genre ze ya ti ta ba ni pa che son sa te ni cha ta de sa te ta nga so ni pa me chel pento shu yore sa no te ta na
So Buddha is an object of reverence or devotion, whatever, faith, respect. But the karmic actions we are creating, and if we do something negative, it's the cause that we have created, which has a negative result. It's not that it's not a punishment that we get from the Buddhas. It's ourselves creating the causes and then having to experience the respective result.
Yeah, I'm still thinking when we talk about we should have fear and shame in front of the Buddha, that doesn't sound like a healthy mind state for me. I think you know what I mean, no?
Yeah.
Venerable Tutu Chögyam has a different translation which seems to sit well. Instead of shame, it's integrity.
Oh.
You know that word? So that integrity just feels like I'm just doing this because it's the right thing to do for me, instead of like, oh my God, I'm so bad. So shame has that word in English, really like, I'm a horrible person, Buddha hates me. And that's not what that word is meant to.
Yeah, probably also, probably
Yes,
same
so
in
that's
Tibetan,
why it's used in, she uses the integrity, and then the embarrassment also can be kind of negative. And so the other word is consideration for others. So those like feel like more empowering.
Yeah,
types of
nice,
words.
Yeah, maybe it's
Yeah, I think there
not
is
so
a
negative,
question of translation. It's a little sticky when you translate from the Tibetan to the English.
Yeah.
I love that house.
Ngutsadang Shetel, die Kolla, die Inchigitzik, Namgunangchen, die das Duchas, Sena, die
Jenazem, tate zem tong che gro.
sind
Zem tong ro tate rigni yo renga so chi so zhenzhou che sai chi gen le ka du cha che go na ya bo me de san ta ngo sa che on ro ten di sa lo chi ta. Police and chi na chung ge che on ko zong ka na chi je ni pa chi me che ni pa me che ta lo ni yo ro. Wo tin ni ro chi sang ji dan li jin je le sang lo. Nga so na bin chi na ta so zhenzhou che sai chi gen le ka du cha che ya de ya bo chi ma ro. Che ma ra so chi. Sangye katina zigde sonsa le katik chama che chik nipat legendary tharba maton police tan nam chen legendary tharba maton sa le katik cha yordina nga so le kat dua na le mji bi tawlam je le katik chama che bi tapshi what there
maybe in English it's better to put it that way, I guess. But anyway, all what we are saying is kaisa mi gushap yepe dilla mi gele matinaya.
Yar mo chen thong sa le che cho ma ro che phet na cho pa tro ta che phe ndwe yar mo chen thong che ge yue yar mo che zig di ngel cho ma che kar re jing se sam ta
re
kar re why
Lhamo chimbole ta
che ta re sa je zig de dinga so le ka cha che ma chi bo chi cha
re Yes, I was asking if the Dalai Lama would be in front of you, would you engage in negativities? But nobody would. I mean, normally do that, right? Why? Why is that?
Fear.
But I think usually we are not even aware that we're engaging in negativities. Like I don't think like, oh, today I want to do a really negative thing. That's like for most of us, not our mindset. So if we make a mistake and then we have the feeling like I have to be afraid of making a mistake because now Buddha gives me all these rules and I'm not able to follow them in the beginning,
Yeah, no.
And then when there's words like fear and shame behind it, I am demotivated to follow this path. That's like just one view. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but like I think these words fear and shame are really loaded in Western society. There's so many people with anxiety and fear, and it makes us kind of paralyzed that we don't want to do anything anymore. So if I connect His Holiness, like I don't connect Him with fear at all. When I see Him, I have the feeling like whatever bullshit I do, He will forgive me and teach me a better way to do it next time. That's my feeling for Him. I don't have any idea of fear from Him.
Yeah, it's probably cultural thing also, how these things are being understood.
Well, also with the perfection of the Buddhas and their understanding of karma and compassion, don't they also understand the conditions that lead to us to fall for those afflictive things in that same time?
Yeah, they're said to be omniscient, right? kasa consider sanada ngaz le tambo wa ingen de sora ro ngaz da pesha ya dempa shibo yo maro ngaz migi wele chena yang ha ko gyo mare tomma ine ki kon le tambo wa din ya dene ine ngaz sampalada ri suzuki luxo ki luxo dang samlok tanta dis ngô rang shete yun zikti shukchenbo yoro tenda shukchenbo kona ha nga nangchu ki lamla madonna yaksare ziksina samno yongyo re segido
kari na nangchu lam rona kyong karan tong
ya di sangi korang sungchen nanglola dikzok kasa minta dikza dampo mambo di sang da dotuk samare sang kasa nukcho mi mambo da senki kanga mambo shibo yo
re tate dango ni tombo jiga kapsu chi jig mambo chi kharko atan jiga kange yo pandawa na le shior pena gesar zeyatala khatuk mashina londi sotu kyoro son shotan jigre labre gesar londi sotu kya gora
soduk
Changa sotu maton la vio mar. Ya tolle niga nisla chi yor. Tinol pa dujar. Te jan te na je kyoro de no som de gyan den jigre ze jo. Pa khatik ko de pon ro jen ta ji na je na ro mala vi che te sang je ga tin so yor. Kar zena ko khat tombo ni je na ro da man den ji mombo chi che go den ji mombo chi che ke ndun de tang ni che to samare san tombo ni tan che ni chon ro go re zo. Te mo cho che te son atendi yor te karche gorezena tombo koni chamal pidachi yon ayo mar tanga so semkam la kangi chya control ze an ro dan do chak ze an ro dan cha to ze an ro da so nga so mombo chi na ngo zeng yor te so le na chu na ni te so le kyon ta tan te so le pa lo byon chi ni zerchi ni so so gen zu ni shot ta tombo koni cham chochu ni te jeni yon gore mo tombo koni na chu le ji mombo ne chama Kurgona te toyata saigi yomar. Te topan tombo somato na shu jiji sama karto ai sendar. Te skinza na ji. Kali andro chokore tombo koni kale go ma.
Well, I mean, we are all beginners, right? At the beginning, we have to go slowly, step by step. We have all these afflictions and whatnot, but we can't do, high level practices or whatever, be like a highly realized being kind of thing. And so the Buddha therefore oftentimes taught, things in a simplified, abbreviated manner. So Geshe mentioned, for example, when people take the novice vows, they're basically 36, which is a fairly good, smallish number, as it were. But actually. Normally, the way is, to become a novice and then eventually become fully ordained. And then you have, as a monk, you have 256 vows. So quite a huge number. But the Buddha started with a small number. So not to discourage the people. So, or, kasa denu sum.
Denu sum yongjan and denu sum zayat pashana janga samato man the nachu samati nam video.
Or he would say, it's good to study, or, you should study the 3 so-called baskets, right, which are the sets of teachings, different sets of teachings. Whereas, basically, short, it sounds kind of like short and, concise, but it's covering the entire teachings, which they study for ages, but so.
And then I just been a dombander china, Bejamba Mombo, so cartose. Genye dombazia chiore, Gesser dombazia, Gelon dombazia, Chancho sebi domangaki dombaz. So, that's a month chemato and there's a chair, until Rumba comment the chain of the Rumba Mombo shior. That's so domba cuni jamato na nachuchina, Camdros and chair with the national and the Nandri. And only Pena Zoba go chubo yamli chete naya, Jamba cuni nachu yamli to cuni chemato naro. Zoba gomba chubo yamli chena, and Missile Sosoli, Hacham Pento, Chumal. Sonam hacha chacha chimbo sakho zoba ta ka ta melaura so bi nyamle chibo ma to jana chu nyamle che ma to na 하자니 표현 침보래.
I mean, there are also these different, sets of vows one can take, according to one's whatever disposition and, abilities, be it the lay person's vow or Bodhisattva vow, and then you have the tantric vows, and then the vows of the ordained. One kind of, take these vows as one wishes, but when one doesn't have to take the vows, one can also just, as it were, take refuge and practice in a more, say, maybe simplified manner. Or if one doesn't want to do even that, if one just picks the practice of patience, for example, only that, and doesn't practice anything else, just the practice of patience, that even that will be very, very beneficial, right?
Last, that chingro. Rejik tomb, tenity water chingro in the Rejik tomb and the gsm, then the stunchi shipchiti, tese daki shivjand, zonta panani pershazi, tataji choso lab deatri, Rejik tombo, the gsm, the stundachi pashichi, the tanda tagishiana, le tombo in sonsa, chemania at the kind, the chain, goya at the kind, hako mara, hako mongo sonsa, tele, logon chegorize or, stundachi pashichi, the pena, ndocha. Tawazul chena ngaso dopa zeata kyopi mongo dingar kenji go yetamro sabi panso ki se ota contendana ngaso le tombo wa ko che menya akari imbata che nya akari imbata shipa cheni ani sem de shinaj tembo cheni de gore sonre tan do chena
Titino sigmare ngaso kare chigure hakomasona.
Kyondan chi bazeti che menya ta karimba ta che goya ta karimba ta soso yapo chi ngoshine ni che goya yu chole shin don na tembo chi ni de sho sombari pombo dodo ta chora ma je.
Then verse 34 reads, when just as I'm about to act, I see that my mind is tainted with defilement. At such a time I should remain unmovable, like a piece of wood. Then Geshe said that, as a beginner, if these like defilements or afflictions come up, then or if we are not certain then how to react, what to do, then here Shantidevas advises us to keep calm and keep like a piece of wood.
Sonsa tsundini kyönshi go ora kyönshi atanji control shi son control gonyen bozo pambaji goan de na yanji yori control de kyoyin ba ha ko sare kyonda chi ba shi tanda le tombo yin sonsa che menya kan yin da che goya kan ham ko zini ko son son roa ke lab son ko so yapo ta tombo china control ta de kyoyin ba da so ha ko ndo de na je ndo pa ziata kar ze kyobim Jobimo dinga kenjigo yetamron sebi penso tinyemuri tai de ala toni chimbo kyorchan gilaze jirimbo chi yonde jikirna la tindi chi yor ngato ndopa ze de atiga yon kang hajan chimbo chi tegores ndopa ze ati ndopa mongom kitiga kang tsama teni yongores kyoso samlo chi tanda yensari control zayati ndopa makani control zagre ndopa khana control zagre zagmara cha tota jerdan da la sopa ta Gauri Jawala sopa the military now polata. Then it samate, so ndopa makani military now polagre, so ndopa makani mil caso chegre, so ndopa makani mil Gauri Jaure, or then chanja chegre, ndopa kana testa in the show, so ndopa makan, ndopa zete at Hachani, Yachi Bangos and Gogre. Dopa, docha. Dopa makans in Hakoya. Dopa makana karchegre. You catch a thing in Dopa makana cholitzina polagri, passioning and Dopa makani call Jari Jagri. And in Dopa makani, Michalon and Dopa kini Kuma Jagri. Kuma Jad the Susan Dopa con cheteri. Dopa Kamerim, Dopa Kana Kuma Jakantoni or Mara, Dopa makani Jari Jagra. What is so sound that Jobimo dinger Kenji goes it, Gang it Sama on set and Dopa chat is a way.
Kenji go.
There's
something Tsongkhapa says in the Foundation of All Good Qualities, which talks about, among others, talks about when one's wishes are not being fulfilled, which creates a lot of problems. And if one is dissatisfied and one's wishes are not fulfilled, then one would rather, very easily engage in all sorts of, negative actions such as stealing, to fulfill certain desires or get into arguments, whatnot.
La so tani nga so gar nyamare le nga so ndi lobsen de dro de yo son sa mandu wi shot na bien tsik ta di na pe cho dan de or ta chi re ni re chi ni kyo so sem le jot ani mandu wi shot kale ha ko re ta do pa che na ka ngi mo bo che nga so ha ko ndo control che de na ka ngi mo bo che ha ko ndo ani jan len chao to che de na yo wo ya lo shi song ja jo pa找到这点那样，刚刚忙不哟，但是捐这三个捐讲的，但是你们我在这里送的，你捐的时候要不使用的，但平常嘛，打老用嘛的，得去，但的 WiFi 就嘛。
Alle Wi-Fi, Mare.
Oh, the one.
Yeah, also nice.